Probably seen these online donation campaigns all over the internet, and they're run by a bunch of different sites. It used to be that the only place you could do them was a place called chipin.com, and Chipin has since gone the way of the dinosaurs. Now there are a whole host of options. YouCaring.com, fundraiser.com, pledgy.com, and then more complicated sites like firstgiving.com. We're going to look at first what sort of situations are appropriate for one of these online donation campaigns, how you phrase your fundraiser to get the maximum bang for your buck, and then look at a couple of different platforms and see what the costs and limitations are. There are some reasons for each one of them. We normally use YouCaring.com for a couple of reasons that I'll go over in just a minute. But for now, let's get started just looking at some of these fundraisers. There are really three things you want to look at in deciding whether or not to put up an online fundraiser. Those are a quantifiable need that can be solved by money. So let's look at this first one in a little bit more detail. A quantifiable need is something that you can attach a dollar value to. For instance, I would never put up a fundraiser saying we need $500 so we have some money in the bank. I would put up one that says I need $320 to get heartworm treatment for a boxer named Jim Bob. I need $220 to buy a box of heartworm tests so we can send dogs north. I need $2,000 to pay for cement for a front area, we need 3 yards of cement, which you couldn't get for $2,000, and I probably wouldn't use $2,000. I would have a specific number, say $1,984. I try to know what things will actually cost before I put up a fundraiser. And some of this you can do based on experience because you've done normal bedding on a dog. You know what it's going to run normally for shots, neuter, spay, heartworm, and chip. So make it a quantifiable need. And a note here, bear in mind that maybe what you need is not money. What you need is that thing. Maybe you don't need $15 to buy cleaning supplies. Maybe you need cleaning supplies. Try to puzzle out when you actually need cash and when you actually need things, because a lot of people will like to buy you specifically items that you need from your Amazon.com wish list, from just a general need posted. For instance, if you need collars, we have a great deal of success with saying, hey, we're out of collars. We need collars to put on dogs that come in without them. People send us boxes of old collars and new collars and on sale collars from all over the country. And that saves me having to pick them out. That saves me having to use actual money to get them, and it still fulfills that need. Same thing with things like plywood or 2x4s. You could say, hey, we need 15 2x4s to put on an addition or do a repair somewhere. People will turn up with that many 2x4s. So don't hesitate to make your specific need known rather than just asking for money to fulfill it, because the more that people can be involved in the solution and actually participating, the better your fundraising is going to be. So the second element to this is you need something that can be solved. Some of these things can't really easily be solved. I mean, you can't put up a fundraiser that says we need $5,000 to end homeless pet problems in our county, or to spay and neuter everything, or to prevent cruelty to animals. It's got to be something that you can solve. It's got to be something that's susceptible to being solved. Surgery for a dog with a broken leg, bedding, establishing a food pantry that will serve X number of clients, X number of pounds of dog food, X number of times a week. Be very specific and try to quantify what it takes to actually solve the problem. And finally, it's got to be something you can solve with money. A lot of things can be solved with money. Money can turn problems into inconveniences, but there's some things that money really can't solve. Things like a new home for a senior set of dogs that you have at the way station. I'm thinking of Boomer and Angel, who just arrived yesterday, both older dogs, a bonded Bagel or a bonded Basset and mixed breed dog. They need a home. That's not something that we can solve with money. Money can buy us some boosted posts to try to get to them some attention. Money can buy them bedding, and money can buy them health certificates, and transportation costs and things like that. But money can't solve that problem of the fact that they need a good home that can take a bonded pair of older dogs. So those are the three things that you want to look at when deciding whether or not an online fundraiser is appropriate. Before you say, well, that lets us out, this isn't a quantifiable need that can be solved with money, you might want to rethink that just a little bit. Just as we looked at what we need in terms of actual objects we like donated by money, you can also cast your operating expenses as specific needs. For instance, rather than saying it takes $2,000 a month to run the way station, what I would do is say we need 5 hours of paid help every day, 30 days a month. We normally pay $10 to $12 an hour for people to help. We also go through $45.38 worth of cleaning supplies every 2 weeks. We need this amount of help. Our electricity bill is normally this amount. And one thing you can do is when you get nailed with something extra, like an extra large utility bill because it's 93 degrees like it is right now, you can put up a small fundraiser and say, hey, electricity bill is way out of bounds this month. It's for $216. It's normally $54. Could you donate to help us cover this electric bill? So your operating expenses and your program expenses can be broken down into monthly goals. You can also distinguish between normal operating expenses and program costs. For instance, if you need to buy, 15 harnesses for dogs to enter a specific program, that's a program expense. And you can put that up there as we need harnesses for 15 dogs in order for them to enter this program. One of the ones we've run into recently is with one of our northern partners. They require a parvo test on adult animals. And I know, okay, but there you are. It's a good program. They had a scare a few months ago. They want a parvo test on all their animals. So if I had to cover that in addition to the normal bedding expenses, I would put up a YouCaring and say, hey, I have 3 dogs. They've been accepted into a Northern Rescue program, but they need parvo tests. We weren't planning on this. It wasn't budgeted. Can you help? Please share. Very important. In the end of all these, say, can you help? Please share. Because people will share if you ask them to. They will. The other thing to keep in mind with these is that you need to plan for what you're going to do if your fundraiser raises more than you've asked for. If your costs go up, you can always go in and edit your fundraiser and increase the amount that you need. If you put up a fundraiser for $100 and you have $125 in donations, what do you do with the extra $25? Well, most people are glad to donate it. They just want to know what's happening. What we normally do, not always, but normally, is say that all donations are to the general fund. They're not directed donations, and any donations in excess of what's needed will go to help the next animal, because we don't really want to worry about having to monitor this and shut it down so that we're not going over our goal amounts. And people tend to be fine with that. It's going to a charity. Just say it's going to the general fund, and any funds in excess will be used to help the next animal. The next thing you'll want to do is decide which platform you want to use to post your fundraiser. And there are a lot of them out there. It's not back in the dinosaur ages when all we had was chipin.com and a couple of native applications within our websites. There are a ton of places you can do these days, and everybody has their favorite. I want to show you some of the things you need to look at as you decide which platform to use. I'll tell you that we use YouCaring.com for two primary reasons. One is that they accept PayPal, credit, debit cards, and they do e-checks. That is the first thing. Almost the more important reason is that the funds go directly into your Rescue PayPal account, and you've got immediate access to them. I mean, if you have a debit card on that account, the moment someone donates, that money is available to pay an emergency room bill or something like that. Some of these others, you have to log in and request a transfer to your bank account, which takes 2 or 3 days, or request a transfer to your PayPal account, or request a check. And that's great if it offers other advantages, but for short-term emergency sort of situations, which these normally are, you need to have access to that immediately. So that's why we recommend YouCaring. And the other factor is the cost. And there are two ways that costs are handled. One is that the donors can pay a suggested donation amount to the account, whatever platform is handling this. For instance, YouCaring. When you make a donation on YouCaring, you will see, in addition to your donation, it will suggest 6% of that as a donation to YouCaring.com to keep that platform up and running. The thing about YouCaring that is unique, as far as I can tell it for any of these, is that you can zero that out. If you're the donor, you can say, no, I don't want to make the suggested donation. Let's peg that at 0. And it's absolutely free for everyone to use then. It doesn't cost the charity anything. It doesn't cost the donor anything. So that's why we like YouCaring.com. That and the immediacy of the availability of the funds. Looking at these other ones, for instance, Fundraiser, the other ones tend to be pretty much the same, around 7.9 to 10% plus 30 cents per transaction. They will offer, in some cases, the donor the chance to pay that for the charity, but if the donor says no, that comes out of your donation. So Fundraiser will deduct 7.9% of your donation plus 30 cents per each transaction, each donation, and you will receive, 92.1%. Actually, a little bit less than that when you count the 30 cents. You'll receive more like closer to 90% of your whatever's donated rather than 100% up here. Same thing with GoFundMe. I don't know why anybody uses them because they only use WePay.com, and to get your money out of there, you have to withdraw it to a bank account, request an online transfer to your bank account, or request a check. And that takes time that a lot of times you don't have. There's nothing in my mind that special about GoFundMe that warrants that additional cost and that delay. Give Forward is one I haven't seen used much, but it does let you do one thing, same costs, right? Just what everybody else is doing. You can have individuals set up different teams. Say somebody who comes to your donation site, a go-getter who says, hey, I can set up a page 2 and solicit my own donors and have them contribute. So it allows team members, which can be a pretty powerful thing. We have not used this much. Same thing, donors are allowed to pay costs, but if not, they get deducted from your donation. Credit and debit card only, no PayPal, which is a big thing for a lot of people, and you have to request a transfer to your bank rather than having the funds immediately available. First Giving is a biggie. It's you have to be a 501c3 to use it. It also lets you set up team members, but again, the donation is reduced by 7.5%, taken from your side of things. It's for 501c3s only. Their payment schedule is even more cumbersome. They have checks or electronic transfers, which is once or twice a month, depending on the type of account you have. It has to be on their schedule, on their dates. And if you want a paper check, I believe there's a $20 fee. So there's some advantage to having one that is known for having screened its clients as 501c3s. To my mind, and for what we use things for, that advantage is not sufficient to warrant the delay in payments. I do like the team members approach, though. I mean, that's very helpful. The other thing I should mention about this Give Forward group is that they have what they call coaches, members of their staff who will help you with your fundraising in terms of showing you how to structure it, how to share it. With all of these platforms, whatever you use, if you want to reach more people, you might consider doing a boosted post on Facebook. Once you post this fundraiser, put the link in, the preview pops up and stuff like that. Down in the lower right-hand corner, you may see a little arrow that says Boost Post. That will ensure that it turns up in the news streams of your members more often and more prominently. And it's something you pay for. It's like running an ad, but it is normally money well spent. Say, for instance, you put $20 down to boost this post to more people, and it'll show you when you click through this how to do that and how many people you reach. You will normally get that many additional donations to more than pay for it. So it's definitely worthwhile doing it. It will say boosted post in your supporters' news feeds, but that doesn't really deter anybody. So for all these platforms, whichever you choose to use, consider using that boosted post function to reach more of your donors. This is far from all of them. I mean, there's Pledgy, there's just a ton of different platforms for this, for donations like this. There are also a lot of things like Indiegogo, CrowdRise, and other project-specific fundraising things, but those are kind of beyond the scope of this particular thing. So for now, if you're just getting started, I suggest YouCaring. You will need a PayPal account, and I think you'll find that that's the most helpful for most of the needs that you'll have. The final point to make is pictures, pictures, pictures. Go back to the newspaper world and the old journalism tenet. If it bleeds, it leads. Now, I don't recommend that you get what some people call rescue porn, the really nasty, bleeding, horrible, gory sort of things, because that's kind of, you reach a point of diminishing returns if you gross people out. But what you do need is pictures, and you need very specific pictures about what you're trying to accomplish and who you're trying to help. If you're getting a dog and it's emaciated, try to get some good pictures of how skinny it is from different viewpoints. Try to get one with the dog looking directly in the camera at face level, not looking down on it. Crouch down so you're directly looking into the face of the dog, and he or she is looking directly into the camera. Video is always great. With YouCaring, you can upload your video there if it's on YouCaring. Pre-treatment and pre-rescue pictures, many views. Get somebody on this right away. It is critically important to your fundraising that you get good pictures and good video, because it goes back to the premise that our donors and our supporters are not a separate entity. They're part of the team. They want to see what they're doing. They want to be part of doing good things in the world, and they want to identify with those individual cases. So get really good pictures. It's worth spending a lot of pixels on to get good ones. You can also get pictures of x-rays. If your vet is showing you an x-ray, take out your camera and take out your phone and snap a picture of it. Those are excellent to put in there. So concentrate on pictures. You can do it without pictures, but it's a much tougher sell, and you'll see a lot better results if you will take the time that I know you do not have, but take it anyway to get some really good pictures.